Let's go ahead and call roll so we can establish our quorum, please.
At this time, I am only asking those board members attending in person to respond by saying here when I call your name. As a reminder, you can unmute your microphones by pushing the button on the base prior to responding. Alternates, please also state your name if you are attending on behalf of a TPA board representative. Steve Wilson. Yvette Drucker.
Here.
Fran Nacklis.
Here.
Angela Cruz.
Present.
Shelley Petroli is absent. Joel Flores. Jim Koretsky.
Here.
Ronaldo Diaz is absent. Joni Brinkman.
Here.
DeAndre Poole. Craig Wise.
Here.
Marcy Woodward.
Here.
Maria Sachs is absent. Mac Bernard.
Here.
Shirley Lanier. Fred Pinto.
Here.
Michael Napoleon.
Here.
Christy Fox. Joseph Paduzzi is absent. Maria Marino.
Here.
Chelsea Reed.
Here, Vice Mayor Marino will need a new microphone. We're sharing ours.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have a
All right.
quorum.
Thanks, Ruth. Do we have anyone who is participating remotely today?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move along. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Marino to do our invocation, and then we will all do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, and please bow your heads with me. I'm not going to be as eloquent as Mayor Wilson is, but I would like to ask us all to pray silently together, each of us in accordance to our own beliefs. Let us offer thanks for the blessing of fellowship around us. Let us be a source of hope for those in need. Let the feeling of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. Let us take this holiday season to remember what it is. It's a season of joy, hope, giving, selflessness, and understanding for all of those around us. And with that, I say amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor Marino. Thank you. Do we have any modifications to our agenda today, Ruth?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. So let's move along. Do we have any public comments? Instructions on how to provide public comments are included in the agenda. Have we
No,
received any? All right, lovely. So this has been hard. This will be I'm sure for all of us, the third or fourth time that we've had to have a moment of silence in memory of Clinton Forbes, the executive director for Palmtran, who we lost in November. So it is, if you would just listen for a moment, it's with deep sadness and heavy hearts that we are having to take a moment of silence today at the sudden passing of our esteemed colleague and local champion, Clinton Forbes. It's an immense loss for our organization, our community, and all of us who have had the privilege of knowing and working with Clinton. The city of Palm Beach Gardens, our council was with him at our meeting just hours before we lost him, and he was, as always, that night during his presentation, charming, insightful, and an inspiring leader for our area. He was an extraordinary individual who dedicated his life to significant impact on the lives of others. His unwavering commitment, passion, and tireless efforts to provide access for all for transportation has left an indelible mark in our community. So let's always remember Clinton's extraordinary contributions. Let's always honor his memory by continuing the important work that he started. His passion, his dedication should always serve to inspire us as we forge ahead. So Clinton's spirit will forever remain an integral part of our organization and our entire community. If you would please join me for the moment of silence. Thank you so much. Seems like an opportune moment to move on to what is next on our agenda, because I know that Clinton was a huge fan and supporter of our Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board. And I'm so honored I get to chair this amazing group of people throughout our whole county that come together to, again, assure that we have transportation options for all. So I'm going to invite David Durham, who is the Executive Director of the Florida Commission for Transportation Disadvantage. Thank you for making the trip in the weather. We appreciate it. If you could come to the podium to announce this really exciting and heavy award that we just received.
Almost broken. Thank you, members of the TPA, for having us come here today to present actually 2 awards, as well as a presentation later. So I'll save my introduction till that point, but this is one of my favorite parts of this job. And in this year, I don't know if you members got the background to why we are doing it here today. Usually we do it in conjunction with our annual training conference, which was canceled this past year because of the hurricane. And so this year we are going around and presenting our awards to the individual communities, which honestly, I think I like better because it's a chance for me to get to meet many of you that I've not met yet and get to see you in person and have a more direct impact. And I also want to thank my colleague here, John Irvin, who has been dedicated to our program for since '95 and has been very engaged with Palm Beach and building the relationship. So I know that he's worked really hard to also continue to support y'all in what you do. So with that, I will present our first award is the Outstanding Local Coordinating Board of the Year. This award goes to recognize the coordinating board, or LCB as we call it, that has demonstrated dedication and support of the local services of the transportation disadvantaged. And this year's award goes to Palm Beach County's TD Local Coordinating Board. Palm Beach LCB is a very active, committed, and truly cares about the community and their transportation disadvantaged residents. Each member fosters the team philosophy among all transportation participants, promoting a positive attitude within the community and helping increase consumer advocacy for the transit system. These members don't just show up for quarterly meetings. They are active in their communities and encourage stakeholders to ride the transit services. During the annual evaluation of the Community Transportation Coordinator, 12 members participated in making over 40 phone calls each, completing over 113 consumer surveys. There were 9 LCB members who took observation rides on the paratransit system and provided feedback. They utilized the technology available like PassWeb and PassApp to track their trips. At each meeting, a board member presents to the LCB about their agency, what their job entails, and how their population is tied to this program. This promotes collaboration among the LCB members to become more aware of the services that are available to them. It creates an educational, positive, and interactive environment for each meeting. The Palm Beach LCB is comprised of individuals that truly care about the community and the transportation disadvantaged. They are not afraid to tackle any subject, whether it is the budget, service hours, or a discussion of the prioritization of trips. The LCB does not have to worry about whether or not they will have a quorum, which is a huge testament about the dedication of these members. They take pride in their work and they make sure that they show up. It is through their dedication, organization, and leadership skills that the Palm Beach County Local Coordinating Board deserves this year's award. Again, let's congratulate them for their outstanding work. And we do have the award up there. We did a picture earlier, so thank you again for attending, and we'll go into the next award. So this one is the Dispatcher and Scheduler of the Year. This award recognizes an individual or team who is either a scheduler or dispatcher for our community transportation coordinator, in this case, it's Palm Tran, who has performed in an outstanding manner and has shown care and concern for the TD passengers. And this year's award, and I apologize if I mispronounced your last name, Caleb Rishilu. But I know I met him yesterday. He also goes by El Jefe Jr. So Caleb is a consummate professional, always willing to take over any task and see it through to the highest standard. He is such a highly reliable and dedicated worker that his supervisor often reminds him it's quitting time. Caleb has a can-do approach on all tasks and responsibilities. He is compassionate and has a good sense of humor. He is in constant communication with his external and internal customers, having the motto that the customer comes first. Upon his arrival to the dispatch department, he began streamlining processes, improving communication, and producing positive impact on his fellow employees. His all-around skills in many facets of transportation proved to be invaluable, as evident by his promotion to dispatcher and now lead dispatcher, hence the name El Jefe. Caleb strives to be the best he can be and is admired and respected by his coworkers. He is not only an exemplary employee, but an exceptional human being. Please join me in congratulating Caleb for this year's Dispatcher of the Year. Do either you as Madam Chair of the LCB or Caleb wish to speak?
If we have a moment, I know we have a hard stop at 11 if we can today or a little earlier, but Caleb, do you want to just come and say hello real quick?
Not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot.
Usually we allow you 3 minutes, but.
Good morning, everyone. All right, I'd like to say thanks to Lou and Ron for this award, for the nomination and for the Palm Beach County Transportation and Planning Agency too. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, this is a hard job. And every morning, I got to wake up and help someone. That's the best thing of the job. I mean, that's the best part of the job. You get to help someone to get to their locations, either dialysis, doctor's office, either to buy something, some food, or put something on the table for the families. I really appreciate to do this. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the award. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of your hard work. And then I also want to do a big shout out to Lou Ferry from Palm Tran, who is our guiding star for our TDLCB and for submitting the application for us to even be considered. And I am so proud of this committee. I think we're going to have gangbuster year ahead, it sounds like. So we're all involved. James is here, who's also on our committee. And it's a great opportunity for all of the people who provide access to transportation for everybody, whether it's healthcare, education, or otherwise, to come together to really make a difference for our county. So thank you, Lou, for your leadership. And thank you to the TPA for taking the time to celebrate some real heroes. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're moving right along. So we're going to ask Courtney Reynolds, who's the Director of Partnerships for Agile Mile, to the podium to announce the award for the Ride, Roll, Stroll Challenge Award. Good morning. Planes, trains, and automobiles for you today, right?
Say that one more time.
It's trains and automobiles to get here today.
That is the short version, yes.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I am joining you here today from actually Seminole County and via Brightline. So very grateful to be here and to not have driven, Valerie. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to recognize the Palm Beach Transportation Planning Agency and all of your employees for an outstanding participation and support of the Florida Department of Transportation's Ride, Roll, Stroll Challenge. Hopefully, you've heard that mouthful before, but Mobility Week has been going on for 8 years now, where FDOT really shines the light on the importance of transportation options and, of course, transportation safety. Each year they host a challenge, so giving people an opportunity to try something new and, of course, answering the question of what's in it for me, win some prizes along the way. We had a competition this year for organizations, and the idea was to encourage employee groups to either travel together to work or travel together for other types of trips and see how the transportation network could help them. And so thank you so much for shining the light on all the excellent options that are here locally, because it helps inspire imagination across Florida. So I'd like to thank Valerie and Valentina, the whole team here at Palm Beach TPA, for actually being the #1 top small organization across the entire state of Florida. So thank you. I know we'll get a photo op later, surely there'll be selfies later, but thank you so much. There was over 17,000 trips that were recorded across Florida as part of this. And your 550 trips absolutely counted. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you so much, Courtney, for coming all the way from far away. I know you're, like we said, planes, trains, automobiles to get here. But yes, very excited about this award, very honored and very proud of staff. Our ped bike coordinator, Valentina, helped encourage us and remind us to take active transportation, carpool, do whatever we can, take transit, walk, bike, and all the TPA staff that participated to make us the winners. So congratulations to everyone and thank you. And we look and congratulations to everyone who participated. And many of the municipalities participated in this challenge and really made a difference. So we look forward to participating again next year. Thank you.
Let's give them one more hand. Congratulations to that CPA staff. All right, do we have any member comments today? All right, if you could put your card up, and then we have Angela Cruz, Councilmember Drucker, Commissioner Fox, and then Commissioner Woodward. So Cruz, please.
Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to provide a quick update from the city of Boynton Beach. We're currently negotiating with Circuit to provide alternative modes of transportation within our CRA area. So we're really excited for that. Just wanted to provide that update and wanted to thank the TPA for your additional support in conjunction with FDOT to support our update to Boynton Beach Boulevard. Thank you.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Vice Mayor Cruz. Moving right along, Councilmember Drucker.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just really excited on November 28th, we finally adopted the Complete Street Policy. The City of Boca Raton unanimously with the support of my colleagues and staff. A special thank you to the TPA staff that had a lot of input and to Ms. Nielsen, who's educated me for the last year on Complete Street Policy and Safe Streets and encouraged me to get this piece of legislation on the books that would help with our efforts and our strategic plan for the city for multimodal connectivity. So thank you. And I'm really excited about that. Second thing, along like Boynton, we have an RFP. I can't really talk about it, but it's out there to get a circulator service in our downtown. So we're excited about that as well. And that's all the news we have from Boca. Thank you.
Congratulations. We enjoyed watching you pass that the other time. Good job. All right, Commissioner Fox.
Thank you so much. I think most of you know that the city of West Palm Beach was phasing out their trolley service earlier this year and starting to look for something that's a little bit smaller, a little more efficient, fitting better on our streets. So we're testing a few options. We started last week. We have a second option that we're testing today. It will, we'll have a test ride at 11:30 and it will be stationed on display in front of the Mandel Public Library until 1 p.m. So if any of you want to stop by and give me any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll be there. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. I'm the representative on the Tri-Rail board, and I just wanted to let everyone know we're getting close to Miami Metro opening. I don't want to jinx it, but soon. The plan is early next year to have a staff rides the train day, and that's for any of us who have staff, municipalities. All of our county commissioners have let them know. It's going to be all 3 counties, and it'll be probably on a Saturday that we're looking at, and have as many people as we can ride the trains. And if the more people who've never ridden it before, the better, because this will be a great way to kind of rip off the Band-Aid and it not be so scary. And go top to bottom, going into the Miami Metro Rail, so everyone can see how that's working down there, and then make sure everybody makes their way all the way back. But just wanted to let you know, we're offering that for all of us and for our staff, because they're the ones that kind of get the phone calls and some of this stuff anyway. So it'd be better if they've ridden it as well. So not just our personal staff, but any staff that you have in your municipalities who'd like to participate. It'll be in the springtime, but just a heads up for now.
Thank you so much. And please do share that information with the TPA so they can put it out to all of us, because I know we all want to join you on that. Thank you so much for championing that as well. All right, let's move along to the executive director's report then.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. First item was to congratulate the city of Boca Raton and Councilmember Drucker, Councilmember Van Necklace for your leadership in passing a complete streets policies. Very excited about that. That's great. I know it's been an effort, and staff did a great job both on TPA side and the city of Boca Raton to really make that a great policy. I know several of our local policies, Delray Beach, Wellington, have been in the top 10 before. So hopefully Boca will make it in the top 10 nationally in the near future. Also exciting news, breaking news as of yesterday, the second round of Safe Streets for All grants was announced, and we had more municipalities who awarded to have funding to do Vision Zero action plans. So cities of Delray Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Indian Trail Improvement District, and the Village of Palm Springs were all announced for receiving grants in the second round. So that's really exciting. Congratulations. Thank you everyone who applied in this round. This is in addition to those who won last year, which was Wellington, West Palm Beach, Green Acres, Boca Raton, and Palm Beach County. So very exciting. Hopefully we get all our municipalities to apply if you haven't already in the next round to get these funds. The planning funds, again, are to do safety, Vision Zero action plans, but then that also leads to the infrastructure grants that can actually implement projects as well. So congratulations to everyone. I also wanted to mention, so we are hosting a transportation funding options workshop as an educational workshop. We've had a lot of questions on, what are the options for funding? And so we are going to invite folks from Broward and Miami to speak with us and also present an update on our long-range transportation plan. We're closing our call for projects tomorrow. We did an extension, and we've received a lot of projects from all of our municipalities in the county of what those local needs are, what they would like to see in the long range transportation plan update. And so we're going to provide an update of what we've heard so far, what those needs are looking like, and what are potential funding options to make these projects a reality moving forward. So we can have more workshops into the future, but we wanted to have one now just to kind of update everyone. And that's on January 8th from 2 to 4. But again, we can have more workshops on this topic moving forward. Anyone's welcome to attend. Speaking of funding, our annual Transportation Alternatives Program funding applications are due February 16th. Many of our local municipalities have been doing pre-application meetings with staff, but if you haven't, just a reminder to do so and to apply for those funds. Those are for primarily non-motorized facilities, safety projects, on or off the federal aid roadway system. So it can be shared use pass and other things like that. And then the annual Safe Street Summit, which is a collaboration between the Palm Beach TPA, Broward MPO, and Miami-Dade TPO is happening in Miami on February 29th and March 1st. We encourage everyone to attend. We'll be hosting it in 2025, but just a reminder, early bird registration is ending this month. And we want everyone to attend. So just want to encourage everyone. I will be sending an email after the board meeting to board members. Board member registration is waived. We'll be covering that. So we encourage you all to, but we do need to know if you'll be able to make it so that we can register you. But that's a great event. And yeah, I look forward to hosting it in 2025. And then I mentioned the long range transportation plan. Again, this happens every 5 years. We're updating this plan right now. This is really, even though it looks out over the next 25 years, what we, how are we growing? What are our needs and where are we going? This directs where we work with FDOT to prioritize funding. So it is a very important effort. There are some boards in the back with some more information about it and a lot of ways to get involved and provide input on our website. So please continue to participate in that. This is a plan that we're going to be continuing to work on and bring back to the board late 2024 for adoption. So just a reminder on that. And just again, a reminder, there's a lot of grant opportunities right now, discretionary grants from the Department of Transportation at the national level. And there's a resource on how to apply, how to find grants at the website listed here. And again, if you're not signed up for our biweekly newsletter, please sign up so you can stay tuned of all these opportunities and ways to get involved. So that's all. Thank you.
All right. Any comments or questions about the executive director report today? All right, I have two quick things. If we could note that Mayor Flores has arrived thank you very much. And then also Nathan is here. Please do take a moment to go to the back corner of the room if you guys could to talk about the Vision 2050 LRTP. There's some pretty great statistics in there. I know we all love those. Let's move along to our consent agenda. Do we have anyone pulling anything from the agenda?
Motion to approve.
All right, second from, who is my motion to approve?
Second.
Flores, okay, and who's my second?
Second.
Okay, Naklas for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving right along to our action items. We are going, oh, yes, ma'am. Okay, we are going to go ahead and start with our reorg for the day. So just as we did last year, I was sat in this chair for about half an hour, and because we had lost our previous chair. And in order to run a transparent and efficient reorganization, I'm going to pass my gavel to our attorney to go ahead and manage the elections for officers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, the purpose today is to elect our officers for the upcoming year. That'll include the chair, the vice chair, and members of the executive committee. And I'd like to let you all know that the chair must have served on the TPA governing board as a representative for a minimum of 1 year prior to taking office. This is pursuant to our operating procedures. All officers must have completed the MPOAC Institute training for elected officials, attended a National Association of MPOs AMPO conference, or received similar training, and the training criteria, of course, can always be waived at the discretion of the TPA governing board. We're going to present a list of TPA board representatives that have completed the requisite training. For your information, the next MPOAC Institute of Training will take place March 9th in Orlando and May 18th in Tampa, if you're interested. So you see now the list of eligible individuals. And with that in mind, staff, do we have any public comments on this item before we proceed?
Not at this time.
Okay, very good. That having been said, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for nominations for chair. First, I'd like to ask Chair Reed, if nominated, would you be interested in serving another term?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nominations are now open for the position of chair. And by the way, nominations do not need to be seconded.
Is it working? It is. I would like to nominate Chair Reed to continue in her position. And
Okay.
if it's possible, nominate myself to continue in the vice chair position.
Okay, for chair, Commissioner Marino nominates Chair Reed. Any other nominations? Going once, twice, three times? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and accept a motion to close nominations and elect Chelsea Reed by acclamation as your new chair. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Naklas and second by,
Bernard Pinto?
who was seconded by Pinto. All right, discussion, seeing none. All those in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and the motion passes. Congratulations. All right, now we'll proceed to vice chair. Our vice chair currently is Commissioner Marino. If nominated, would you be interested in serving again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Nominations are now open for vice chair.
She nominated herself. I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Nomination by Vice Mayor Napoleon. Any other nominations? Going once, twice, three times? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to close nominations and elect Commissioner Marino by acclamation as your new vice chair. Is there a motion?
So move.
A motion by Weiss, second.
I'll second.
Second by Pinto. Discussion, seeing none. All those in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
All righty, let's proceed to the position of our three at-large members on the executive committee. And our current members on the executive committee is Mayor Pinto. Who else is on there? Mayor Flores and Vice Mayor Napoleon. All righty. I'll ask each of you gentlemen, if you are nominated, would you be interested in serving again for another term? Mayor Pinto,
Yes, I would.
Vice Mayor Napoleon,
Yes, I would.
and Mayor Flores.
So with all the respect, I am not going to seek nomination for the executive board. I have decided not to seek reelection. I am running for a different opportunity and hopefully I'll get to serve in this board later on in time. But at this point in time, I respectfully decline the nomination. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And if, can I make a motion, a nomination in my place or?
Please.
I would like to nominate council member Yvette Drucker from the city of Boca.
Okay, let's take these board seats individually. And we have a nomination for Mayor Flores' seat of Council Member Drucker from Boca Raton. Are there any other would you be interested in serving?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for that particular seat? Going once, twice, three times, seeing none, we'll accept a motion to close nominations and select Ms. Drucker by acclamation. Is there a motion? Motion by Cruz. Second by Necklace. Discussion, seeing none, all those in favor signify by voting aye.
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 Motion passes. All right, maybe we can resolve the other two positions together. Nominations for Mayor Pinto and Vice Mayor Napoleon's seat.
I make the nomination for both.
Okay, nomination has been made by Mayor Flores for Vice Mayor Napoleon and Mayor Pinto. Are there any other nominations? Yes.
I would like to nominate myself. I have been very excited the past year to come to almost every workshop, the peer reviews. Very excited about moving forward and taking a larger role in this board. So I would like to nominate myself.
Okay, Commissioner Fox has placed her name in nomination and Commissioner Marino.
I would like to keep Michael Napoleon. It's a foggy day today. Nominate Michael Napoleon to retain his position at large representative.
Okay, very good. All right, are there, yes, sir, Commissioner Bernard.
I'm not nominating myself, but I guess I'm troubled by these at-large appointments where they're automatically, because they serve on the board, we're not opening it up to new members to being nominated. Why are they, just because they've been on the board, they're the first ones that are being asked? Is that the rules?
Well, simply, we're simply asking if they're interested in continuing. That's usually a question that comes up. And of course, in this particular case, Mayor Flores identified that he was not interested in continuing. But the nominations are so certainly open to anybody that meets the eligibility criteria.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a predisposition as if, since you've been on as an at-large member, you're automatically given the first opportunity. It should be a blank slate, shouldn't it? Because I believe that you're being unfair, because it should be an open nomination and for everyone to make a decision on whether or not they should get that opportunity. And you're giving those folks who've been on there almost like a first right to be on there. I support Commissioner Fox, but I feel like you've already poisoned the well.
Well, respectfully, if I have telegraphed that position, which is, by the way, is not my position, but if I've seemed to have telegraphed that position, I certainly apologize for that.
But I believe you as the parliamentarian, as a chair, you shouldn't really poison the field in terms of giving those folks who've been on there the first right. It should be an open nomination, and Commissioner Fox should get, or whoever should get, an fair opportunity.
Certainly. No question.
Sir, if I may, why don't we get a list of everyone that has either been nominated or nominated themselves for the at-large position if they have met the criteria of MPOAC training and 1 year on the board, which I believe is the criteria. Let's get a list and do a roll call vote for each name. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Would that assuage things for you, Commissioner Bernard?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I don't have the floor, so I can't call cards.
No, you actually do have the floor right
Okay,
now.
I may, okay.
recognize.
I do have the floor, but I can't call cards. I see lots of cards going up.
Yeah. All righty.
Question?
Vice Mayor Napoli.
I did have a question because again, I don't think any of us are running against each other in a specific seat. Isn't the top vote getters would get whatever the 2 open seats are? Right.
Yes,
The top 3 vote getters.
yes, yes,
Or top 2 now because we've already voted 1 in.
yes. Okay. Vice
So-
Mayor Brinkman, did you have, or did we nail it there? Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you please use your microphone?
That was my question too, that there's 3 open seats. They're not against each other on 1 seat. There's 3 seats. So how we were gonna vote?
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, it is the top, it will be the top voters. Mayor Flores?
I just have a question. Since I nominated 2 individuals, can I retract my nomination and then let everybody nominate 1 individual?
Certainly.
All right, then I retract my nomination, and my only nomination is gonna be Vice Mayor Michael Napoleon. I
Okay.
apologize.
Then we have, let's restate where we're at then.
Yeah, I apologize.
Uh, uh, Mayor Flores has nominated Vice Mayor Napoleon. Commissioner Fox has been nominated. And we have a third nomination that's possible if anybody wishes to make that. Now, Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, thank you. I have a question on procedure with this. As I understand it, the chair and the vice chair has to have served on the executive committee for 1 year. Does it have to be the previous year or can it be any previous year?
I think it can be any previous year.
So I kind of agree with Commissioner Bernard that it would behoove us to have a wider pool of people having served at large in the future, as elections do have consequences, as that's how I'm here. And you're in that chair right now. So I think it would behoove us to actually expand that pool of at-large members so that in the future, we would have a better selection, or at least a wider selection, not better selection. Take that back. No offense meant, wider selection if needed. Sorry.
The executive director.
Thank you. So just to a point of clarification, just to kind of where we're at right now, that can you show the slide of everyone who's eligible? It's a prerequisite to have a completed either the MPOAC Institute training, the TPA training that we held this past year. Christy Fox, Yvette Drucker, and Angela Cruz came to that, and then or attended an AMPO conference. So these are the people who are eligible for any of the seats to be nominated. Currently, we elected Chair Reed again and Vice Mayor Marino as Vice Chair. And the 3 seats per our operating procedures currently, it says we have 3 other members that can serve on the executive committee. So we have Yvette Drucker was already selected. And then we have 2 other seats unless the board, because we had a motion and a second for you, right? We moved on after that.
But I think that he withdrew that. Commissioner Flores removed that.
Oh, Flor-
I only removed the nomination of.
The second
the
time.
Second
Yeah,
nomination.
so right now we have Councilmember Drucker in 1 seat, and then the other 2 seats are up for, we have a couple of nominations on the floor. We have Mayor Pinto, we have Commissioner Fox, we have Vice Mayor Napoleon, and Commissioner Bernard was pointing out, are there any other, nominations of the people that are listed here or folks that are interested for those 2 other seats? And, right?
That's not what I said
You
at
were,
all.
You said that
That is not
it
what
was
I said.
predispositioned to say, are you still interested for the people that are currently serving, right? But you were saying that that didn't really, that basically set the stage for those people to get re-selected, right?
No, that's not what I said at all. I'll make sure I come back to this issue. I think that this whole process is, we're not given the proper advice by council because each seat should be individually voted. And there shouldn't be like for nomination for 2 seats. It's like you're supposed to vote on one seat, vote for the second, vote for the third. We shouldn't be combining like these names. It should be one at a time. Because this whole process is just,
Well, without objection, should we take each seat individually,
that would be the right way to do it.
as Commissioner Bernard has asked? Is that agreeable to everybody? All right,
Choose the names and do a roll call vote for each name, count their
Yes.
votes. Yes, sir.
yes.
That was my original.
All righty,
request.
let's go ahead and take the first board seat. And we'll take nominations for that board. We're starting fresh on this. So the first board seat, Vice Mayor Napoleon.
Nominate myself again.
Okay, Vice Mayor Napoleon has been nominated. Are there any other nominations for this particular board seat? Going once, Mayor Koretsky. Yeah,
I would nominate Frank Pinto.
okay.
Makes sense.
So any other nominations for this particular board seat? The nominations are Mayor Pinto and Vice Mayor Napoleon. If there's no other nominations going once, twice, 3 times, we'll go ahead and close nominations. We're doing one seat. We're doing one seat. And we're going to go ahead and take a roll call. And first, Commissioner Bernard.
I had my cards up pretty much before the nomination were closed.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'd like to nominate Yvette Drucker.
Okay. All right. So we have a third nomination for this seat. Are there any other nominations?
I'm sorry, there's mass confusion. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, there's a
Mr.
point of clarity. I thought we already held a vote on council member Bet Drucker, which everybody here made a motion and it was second and it was
did.
approved.
We did. We
So
did.
then I understand that that vote has already occurred.
It has.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Before we close nominations, going once,
So can we withdraw the,
Sorry, because I'm the one I questioned. So couple things. I think we should still take a vote on myself, even on myself, because I think if you're taking a vote on each at-large representative, before we take the vote, I want to put on record why I deserve to be on this board. I think that's important for our viewers and for transparency. And then you can, and thank you for the nomination and the seconds. So if that's okay, if this is the right time, even if I don't have opposition, I still want to go on the record with why I deserve to be on this board. I wasn't on it prior. So I joined the TPA 3 years ago. It was one of my first appointments on city council. I've passed major legislation in the city of Boca Raton to move mobility and connectivity with Vision Zero. It took us 10 years to pass that. It took me 2 years to pass that, and I'm very grateful. And we just passed complete street policy. I've attended the Austin Peer Exchange Safe Tree Summit. We were nominated for the city. I was nominated personally for my contributions for mobility. I've attended NACTO. I've attended TPA trainings. I have the required MPOAC. I have additional workshop events, public workshops around Vision Zero, complete street policy, bike lanes. And I think because of that, I should be considered and I would like to serve on the board.
okay.
For staff, can you please clarify, it's a little confusing, the screen. Can you put the at-large number 1 as Drucker, since we already took a vote on that? Instead of the other nominations?
She's saying that she wants to run.
It was already motioned and seconded.
Yeah, you were already,
Confused. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
and you
that's-
were
already
stating why.
elected. You were
right.
already elected.
Yeah,
I just wanted to state why I was a good fit for the board. on
So-
record.
Okay, all righty. All right, then let's restate where we're at. we have two nominations, as I understand it. We have Vice Mayor Napoleon and Mayor Pinto. Councilmember Nachlas.
And I'd also like to nominate Christy Fox, Commissioner Christy
Okay.
Fox.
Okay, Commissioner Fox has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? All right, going once, twice, three times. We'll go ahead and close nominations and we'll restate where we're at. The three nominees are Mayor Pinto, Vice Mayor Napoleon, and Commissioner Fox. And we'll go ahead and this is for one seat. And we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. And whoever gets the highest number of votes will be the winner.
Steve Wilson is absent. Yvette Drucker.
Napoleon.
Fran Nachlas.
Napoleon. Sorry.
Napoli. Are you trying to say my name?
Napoleon.
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 Angela Cruz.
Fox.
Joel Flores.
Napoleon.
Jim Koretsky. Ronaldo Diaz is absent. Joni Brinkman.
Napoleon.
DeAndre Poole is absent. Greg Wise.
Napoleon.
Marcy Woodward.
Fox.
Maria Sachs is absent. Mac Bernard.
Fox.
Shirley Lanier is absent. Fred Pinto.
Napoleon.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Napoleon.
Thank you. Michael Napoleon.
Napoleon.
Christy Fox. Joseph Peduzzi is absent. Maria Marino.
Napoleon.
Thank you. Chelsea Reed.
Napoleon.
Thank you.
Okay. The winner is,
Michael Napoleon.
okay. Congratulations, Vice Mayor Napoleon. All right, that gets us to the third position. Mayor Reed,
I'd like to nominate Christy Fox, please.
okay, Mayor
I
Reed
second that.
nominates Commissioner Fox. Are there any other nominees? Going once, twice, three times? Okay, if there are no other nominees, we'll go ahead and accept a motion to close nominations
Second.
and elect Commissioner Fox by acclamation. Motion by Weiss, and who seconded? Drucker. Discussion, seeing none, all those in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and the motion passes. And congratulations, Commissioner Fox. That's all three positions, right? So I think that completes your board elections.
I'm gonna steal back that gavel.
Got it.
Thank you so much. All right. We all got a lesson on parliamentary procedure and we have a wonderful board. Thank you guys so much for your confidence in this group of 21 elected officials that all work together for the betterment of our county. Anyone who was not considered for a seat because you have not been able to take the MPOAC training, please do so this year. I know that the TPA will share that so that as we were told to get a good group of people to choose from. That way we can make sure that if you've had the training, you are able to run. All right. Anything else, Valerie, before we move on?
Just want to mention, we do have, we just received the dates for the next MPOAC Institute training for anyone's interested on March 9th in Orlando and May 18th in Tampa. Registration isn't open yet, but we'll share that as soon as possible. So if you are interested, just save the date, March 9th in Orlando, May 18th in Tampa for the MPOAC Institute training. And thank you everyone for your interest and willingness to serve on the board and on the executive committee. Thanks.
All right, lovely. We're going to move on to our motion to adopt a resolution approving the proposed 2020 FHWA Adjusted Urban Boundary Area for Palm Beach County. So we'll have Nathan George, our TPA LRTP coordinator, to come up, say a few words and share some information.
Good morning. Thank you. So I want you to look around the room because we're about to make the most important decision of what remains of this year, the last action item of 2023 that this board will take. So we're here to talk about our urban area boundary. This is a process that happens every 10 years. The Census Bureau evaluates where people are living and where they've moved around, and we get these numbers. And then we go through a process to establish the boundary for our urban area. We wanted to offer a few staff comments before this item is presented by FDOT. So first, we've worked with the Technical Advisory Committee to ensure that the areas that are along our fringes, places where those urban boundaries exist within your municipalities. We worked with the Technical Advisory Committee to ensure that any adjustments recommended by your staff have been evaluated and considered. So that process has been completed out before we come here today to accept this recommendation. Also wanted to highlight for you a few considerations because I am looking at the long range transportation plan and want to highlight for you just how this factors into our process. We are a metropolitan planning organization that plans at a countywide level, but we prioritize primarily in our urban area. So we're talking about the area that we're going to be prioritizing those funds as we look at this 2050 long range transportation plan. So it's very important for us to understand where those boundaries are. And then a subsequent process that you'll hear more about next year is the functional classification of roads. That's where we apply those federal dollars. So this is a really exciting step in the process. It's a first step, I'll call it, but the FDOT team is here to walk you through the actual process they went through to identify those urban boundaries where we'll largely prioritize those federal funds. And then next year, we'll get into that process of looking at the roads themselves, the functional class. So I'll invite the FDOT team to come up and give the presentation, and then we can answer any questions if there are any at the end. Thanks.
Thank you, George. Madam Mayor, board members, good morning. My name is Raj Shamugam. I'm with the FDOT District 4 Planning Office. I have the pleasure of presenting to you the draft urban area boundary that we have worked out for the last several months on this. So my presentation is going to be broken into what we have done thus far so that you have an understanding what's been happening for the year or so. Some guidelines that we have been given to us by the Federal Highway Administration in forming the adjustment to the urban area boundary. And finally, we'll show you the draft urban area boundary. So the second point that I have there, the guidelines that given by the FHWA, I want to make sure that everybody understand that the ultimate call is Federal Highway Administration. We make the recommendation, we work with the county staff and the board members and come up with the draft version of it, but we'll send it up to central office. Then we hope on the first time around, it get approved. The key thing is try to get it approved the first time rather than it coming back to us. The thing is, it'll get extended time-wise if we just keep dragging this on. So we have experts, our consultants are experts. They have done this. This happens once every 10 years. And we have consultants who have worked on this for 10 years ago when we had the 2010 census data. So they're very well knowledgeable about what FHWA likes to have and like not to have. So we are well served by our consulting profession here. All right, so census happens once every 10 years. As you know, 2020 census data came out. The data that we are looking for didn't come out until late 2022, early 23. And if you all want to know more about the census data and the historical information, there is a website called census.gov. You can get all kind of information in there. So urban area boundary, like George clearly pointed out, it to designate for the funding sources of federal funding for the roadways. This is different from your planning area boundary. So I just want to make sure that the differentiation between the planning area boundary and the urban area boundary. There are a couple of changes that have happened since 2010 to 2020. In 2010, 25% within an urban area was referred to as urban area. It changed this time around. It's 5,000 people and 2,000 housing units. So obviously you can think that it may have shrunk a little bit because we have a larger requirement. This time around, they are using the census block instead of the tract. So that has a change in that too. Functional classification, I don't want to get too deeply into the functional classification because we have not started on the functional classification. Functional classification is best done after we finish with our urban boundary, because urban boundary, designating the urban boundary going to help us figuring out what the functional classifications are. All right, so what are the impact of having the urban boundary? Obviously, like I said, the functional classification. You're going to have urban arterial, rural arterial. That depends on the functional classification. Not entirely, for the most part. Highway performance monitoring system. That's the reporting that get to the Federal Highway Administration, the vehicle lane miles traveled. So that's going to be divided by the urban versus rural. That's going to be changed because of the changes that comes up. Surface transportation block grant, STBG apportionment. The census areas will dictate, and the population will dictate the apportionment of the funding. There are many other sources of grants that are going to be affected. I have listed there. I'm not going to run through them. For functional classification, this will be my last slide on functional classification. As I said, this is going to be happening right after we finish with our urban area boundary designation. We'll be going through a similar process like what we are doing right now. We'll be coordinating with the TPA staff, local municipalities, counties, and so on and so forth before we come up with a draft functional classification. But let me stop right there for functional classification and move on with the urban boundary designation. So right now we are at, I can't point this, so you can see that little star right in the middle of the left side rectangle. That's where we are at. We are working with the local agencies, MPOs, TPOs, TPAs, and trying to get the designation of the urban boundary. Now, the census have provided us with an urban boundary, but sometimes they are not exactly how we wanted to see it because they don't have the local knowledge. We, the TPO, TPAs, MPOs, as well as the municipalities have a better knowledge of what's going on locally. So we get that feedback so that we can adjust the urban boundary. We are hoping to have the urban boundary completed by early next year so that we can start the functional classification early part of next year. Right, so now the guidance. The main thing I want to point out with the guidance is that there are some guidance are subjective. So what one thinks what it is, it's not necessarily the same, but the other things. To point out a few, the urban area boundary should not be splitting the roadway or ramps. We have seen the urban area boundary going through a middle of a roadway. So we have made that adjustment so that it captures the entire roadway. The urban area boundary should be a contiguous area. We don't want to have pieces. Should be easy to discern. Should be simple without irregularities. You're going to see when I show the map how we have smoothed the exact word smoothing that happened, that taken out a lot of these irregularities that are there. As much as they like to see they follow the municipal boundaries, it does not happen all the time. Because very well in Palm Beach, you have areas that are within the city that cannot be qualified based on the criteria that FHW have given us. Should include areas with urban characteristics such as airports, industrial areas, transportation terminals, major activity centers, etc. So the main point I want to make it on this slide is that it's subjective. So we have people who have done this before, so they're able to use their knowledge and came up with the boundaries. Again, it's based on the maps that we looked at and information and data that's available and the feedback that we have received from you all. Okay, so what we have, this is what we have right now. On the left side, you see the 2020 census urban area boundary. And you can see some of the irregularities that you see in the middle of the county. Then you go to the right side, that's what we have smooth. And it's called the smooth urban area boundary. This is if I were to overlay one over the other, you can see the pinkish area is the 2020 smooth area. And you can see we have expanded the urban area more than what the census have shown us, because we do have reasons we can justify why they should be expanded. We cannot contract it because that's the minimum that you have to stay with, what the census have provided to us. This map shows the 2020 smooth boundary versus the 2010 smooth urban area boundary. So you can see compared to what we have right now, smooth urban area boundary, we have expanded a little bit more. And there are some pockets that have been left out because we could not justify, which was there before in 2010, we could not justify it this time around. So with that, I like to give you the names of people that you can contact, myself, Christine, who's here, and our consultant, Janelia Liu. We have our emails out there for you, telephone numbers. Feel free to call us. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Besides, I'd like to answer any question that you have right now. Thank you.
And if I may, just to conclude the presentation. So we are here seeking a motion to adopt the smooth urban area boundary. So that is the official action that we're here to take. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj and Nathan. All right, we have a couple cards up. We'll start with Mayor Koretsky and then move along to Commissioner Brinkman.
First of all, before I make my comment, I'm supportive of what's before us, but this is a great opportunity to just share from my perspective, the consequences of rural versus urban. So, I've lived in Jupiter. I worked in Dade County. I lived in Broward County, and I escaped to North Palm Beach County is what I tell people. Interestingly, so I know the whole I-95 corridor. Interestingly, when you take all the interchanges going to Jupiter, I think we may have been the only one to have a rural interchange. And that has had adverse consequences to us for years because anybody west, in fact, I got a request this weekend. Someone asked me, how does a pedestrian safely go from west of 95 to east? You can't. It's a rural interchange. We're finally doing an interchange mod that FDOT that'll change that because now there'll be a traffic light to get off. But we've really suffered. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying going forth, we should be mindful of there is consequence if somebody's designated rural from a design standpoint. I speak as an engineer. I just wanted to point that out because it didn't have to be as generous of an interchange, which has caused problems, as far as land consumption has caused problems, quite frankly, for a long time. And I just want to make that pitch. So I have no objection with what's here, but just I know because I've lived with the consequences of that designation at the time the design was done. So I just thought I'd share that perspective. And now, because if in fact if you're planning properly and you think differently than they did when I-95 was built, well, day's going to come, that area is going to be urban, then you would design it urban and it would have really been better overall, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's the only comment I had.
Thank you, Mayor Koretsky. Vice Mayor Brinkman.
Yes, I don't have any issue with what we're voting on today, but I did get a call from my TAC member regarding when you start to move through the functional classification map and designations, and she sent me a link. And in the village of Palm Springs, it looked like you were considering adding 3 of our internal residential streets as urban major collectors, which we want to make sure we're really involved in that process. One of the streets, for instance, I mean, we recently did a mobility plan and we've hired consultants to actually do traffic calming on that street to keep people from speeding through our jurisdiction. So we want to make sure we understand what the implications are in the future if those are added. And ideally, I mean, if there are some benefits to us, if we can add wider sidewalks, but we definitely would not want any improvements to that roadway that would foster additional traffic through the village. So I just wanted to put that out there so that hopefully when we work through this process, our staff and we can have a lot of interaction on that.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. Definitely, yes. As we go through the functional classification process, I can see it's going to be far more involved than what we are doing for the urban area boundary. So yes, we will be closely coordinating with the local agencies to come up with the designation. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Brinkman. Anyone else? Real quick, do we have any public comments? I forgot to ask.
No, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for considering our local area's needs. It's rare to see home rule get utilized at a state level, and we really appreciate when that happens. So thank you for listening, and we look forward to continuing to collaborate as we smooth it out and get our urban boundaries in order. Anything else from you, Valerie? All set? All right, so I'm
Make a
seeking.
motion.
Oh, okay. Motion from Mayor Flores, second by Vice Mayor Napoleon. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you for a great year of motions, everybody. I did want to just say, I had a moment of reflection after our officer elections. For anyone considering next year to put yourself up for officer, if you're chair or vice chair, you are not just required to come to or run this meeting. You go to MPOAC meetings every quarter. You go to CEFTEC meetings every quarter, and your requirement is much more than the once a month here. It's probably about 5 to 6 meetings that you have to attend for quorum each month, not to mention everything else, the summits, NACTO, peer trips, things like that. So it is, it's a time lift. So if you're considering it for next year, please always take a look. The TPA does a great job putting out the calendar well ahead, so you know what's ahead of you for the year. We already have all of our meetings scheduled for the following year. And then if you're considering going on to exec, primarily was previously meeting as needed. It's meeting about once a year or so right now. And again, that does not require that you show up so much for the MPOAC, CEFTEC, or otherwise, although we'd love your company for all of those meetings. We'd love to have more folks come with us to those because they are extraordinary, as we are now one traveling public from Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, and we're all trying to work together to improve our county together. So just wanted to mention that. Let's see. We're going to move on to our information items. We have the TPA Federal Certification Planning Process. So we have Erica Thompson from the Federal Highway Administration to present on this item. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Erica Thompson. I am with FHWA and I'm here to report out on the Miami TMA certification review. I've got this right. So we are required by law. I had it right. Okay. So FHWA and FTA are required by law to conduct an evaluation of the MPOs in the transportation management area every 4 years. So we did, and it's has 3 main components. The first is a desk audit where we look at all the elements that are identified in a risk assessment that we do. And then we schedule and do a site visit. And we did our site visit on April 4th of this year. And that's an opportunity for the MPO to, discuss the different elements and share their initiatives and practices. And the review team was Kathy Kendall, Carlos Gonzalez, myself, Aries Little, and Brittany Lavender. And then the last part of the certification is the issuance of the formal report, which we did issue in, I believe, September. And then this closeout presentation. This is the last piece. And we'll be out of your hair for at least it'll be, I think, 3 years before we start reaching back out. So the TPA in total has 4 noteworthy practices, 0 corrective actions, and 2 recommendations to improve the planning process. So the noteworthy practices, the Palm Beach TPA is commended for collaborating with partners on many bicycle and pedestrian initiatives, training and collaboration workshops, including bike safety workshops and walk and bike to school days. We also commends the TPA for leading by example to promote multimodal transportation, with the TPA receiving the Bicycle Friendly Business Award and the Best Workplaces for Commuters Award for multiple years. So great job. For the second one, the safety considerations in the planning process, the Palm Beach TPA hosted walk bike safety audits, bringing stakeholders together to experience bicycle and pedestrian concerns for safety and access. After the audits were conducted, they worked collaboratively with stakeholders to plan, prioritize, and fund the identified safety improvements. These experiences have led to some same-day fixes as well as some longer-term planning. The third is outreach and public participation. The Federal Review Team commends the TPA for revising their public participation plan to include many updates on how the TPA will conduct social media activities, outreach activities, meeting notices, et cetera. And also launching a new user-friendly ADA compliant website with interactive comment maps. And then the last noteworthy practice is the Federal Review Team commends the NPO for deploying a tool which helps them achieve their mission and the collaboratively plan, prioritize, and fund the transportation system. This, the Data Hub streamlines making data available to all users. So great job. Okay, and again, no corrective actions, which is fabulous. So that means all the federal requirements were being met. We do have a couple of recommendations. The first one is continuing to coordinate on the interoperability issue for seamless travel. This is something that we recommended for all 3 of the NPOs that are part of this Miami TMA. So it was also included in Miami-Dade's and Broward's recommendations. So we've seen some progress in coordinating the interoperability, but the Federal Review Team recommends that the NPO continue this coordination to implement this initiative for the seamless travel from system to system. And then the second recommendation, it's in 2045, the LRTP was adopted several months late. So we just encourage, the TPA to adhere to their LRTP development schedule to ensure that they adopt the LRTP, the 2050 LRTP by or before December 12th, 2024. And lastly, I just wanted to say that we really appreciate all the hard work that the TPA did, Valerie and her staff. I mean, I know it's a really heavy lift when we come in and do these certifications, and it was really a pleasure to work with you and your staff, and it made it really enjoyable, actually. So now I'll take any questions.
Thank you so much, Erica. Do we have any public comment today, Ruth?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, thanks. I don't see any comment cards up. Valerie, do you have anything you want to add?
Thank you, Erica, for coming all the way down from central office in Tallahassee. It was a pleasure to work with the entire federal team on this, and I'm really proud of staff and everyone who worked together to have a successful certification. And we will continue to work with PalmTran and SFRTA on the fair interoperability for the region, as well as we're working on keeping on-time performance for our LRTP for this round. So thank you so much.
Excellent, thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have a card that just popped up. Commissioner Woodward?
Yes, thank you, and thank you for this presentation. I know as far as Tri-Rail, I believe that we've connected with Broward and Miami-Dade on moving forward with an app that connects all of it. So I was wondering, could you give an update on that since?
I'm probably not the person to give an update on that, but I had heard some of that, which is really encouraging. I don't know.
It is outdated right
At the
now.
last SEPTech meeting, Broward is working hard to get up to date with that. But
Okay.
we have not, it was a little vague, honestly,
Mhm.
but I know that it's on their agenda for something that they want to accomplish as quickly as
Okay, so,
possible.
because I know that the arrangement that we're trying with Tri-Rail is to make sure that even the buses for each different one, because Miami-Dade has their own Broward, and we of course have Palm Tran app, is to have one app that people can pay one fare, everybody gets their share, and it also completes the journey. So people can put in, I want to get from here to there, and the app will do that for them. So
Yes, that's the goal.
It
That's
works.
part of what we're trying to promote and encourage. And I know that there's been a lot of effort to get there.
thank you.
Good question. All right. And then I do firmly believe Nathan and our LRTP team, we're gonna get it in probably early, right?
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, anything else? Thank you so much for coming. All right, let's go to the CTD program overview. I'm so excited. Thank you, David Darn, for sticking around. The Executive Director of Florida Commission for Transportation Disadvantage, if you would be so kind as to present on the CTD program.
Thank you. And I assume I can use this for the
Please do.
slides?
Absolutely.
Thank you again, members, for having us, inviting us to be here. It's been a real pleasure to be able to present the awards and then also give you all an overview of our program. Before I get into the program itself, I wanted to introduce myself. It is not a coincidence that I'm here representing the Transportation Disadvantage Program. I myself am legally blind, so I see about 3 feet. I was born with a congenital birth defect that prevents me from being able to see long distances. So where I am transportation disadvantaged, I am advantaged when it comes to public speaking because I cannot see facial expressions. So I can just keep going. It won't faze me if I'm boring anybody. But I've been very blessed in my life. My disability and the group of people that I was surrounded with growing up it prevented me from being able to live the best life possible. And I was very blessed to have parents who were both educators. I had really good teachers. I had friends who were my advocates. When I was a child, I couldn't explain what made my experiences different than somebody who was so fully sighted. And because of those individuals in my life who were able to be speaking up for my behalf, that inspired me to eventually not only form my own voice and my own confidence, but to be able to pursue a career in public service so I could be a voice for others. And I believe that all of you here, each of you representing different constituencies or areas of the county, are a voice for the people you serve. And so for today, I'd like to start with our presentation, considering the needs of our customers before we get into the transportation side. So I like to use a quote from Steve Jobs. He once said the philosophy of Apple was to start with the customer's experience and then work backwards to the technology. Where so often the industry was focusing on the technology and figuring out how to sell it, Apple had a very different kind of a counterculture approach. And I believe that is what our program is as well. We have to start with understanding the customer's needs and working backwards to the transportation. Oftentimes we see that the operational sides of things and the funding and those varying system issues get the first attention and often overshadow the customer's needs. So to kind of one way to look at this from perspective of myself, you often don't think about if you have the ability to drive, how you're going to get from your house to work, to the doctor's office, to the grocery store. You might think about how you avoid traffic and getting around that, but generally you don't think about, am I going to get there? Am I going to have the ability to get there? But if you don't have that ability to drive, then all of a sudden you have to be very strategic in the way you think about these things. And that's the way our program is kind of functioning. We don't just look at one specific type of activity going to work or going to medical. We try to look at the whole array. Our services, as far as our customers, our customers consist of 4 main groups. They are individuals with disabilities that could be physical or a mental, developmental, that prevents somebody from being able to physically drive. They could be an older adult who had the ability to drive, but they've lost that ability due to their age. There could be income restraints. So they may have the physical abilities to drive, but because of their financial challenges, they do not have the ability to own a car and drive their own vehicle. And then the fourth group is at-risk children. So those in the foster care system who may not have transportation, as many transportation options available to them like it would be for other children. And we again look at the array of all the activities that they're needing to go to. So employment, healthcare, education, grocery shopping. And a very important factor of our program is a recognition that there are maybe transportation options, but they might be limited, or they may be only focusing on certain areas, like going to a doctor's office. If they have Medicaid, they may be able to get that funding, but they may not have that same access, say, to employment. So we look at, again, the whole array of these needs and designed this program to try to meet those needs the best we can as a statewide program. A little history about us. We were established in 1979 by the Florida legislature. Our program is 100% state funded. We do not rely on federal dollars. We are completely state supported. And the idea the legislature understood, it was very forward thinking. They understood that there were public transportation options in certain segments of the state, and usually the large urbanized areas, but they did not cover the state as a whole. Furthermore, they also understood there was a lot of social service programs like Medicaid that were maybe providing some or funding some types of transportation, but they were not coordinated. Again, looking at the array of all the activities of a person's life and trying to coordinate with all these varying systems. So the legislature created this program, and over the course of 10 years was building up a provider network, designing plans to be able to meet these needs as a statewide program. And it culminated in 1989 with the creation of the commission and establishing a dedicated trust fund. I like to describe our program. We operate kind of like an AFLAC. We are an insurance for those that do not have other transportation insured in their community. So basically provides a stopgap to support the needs of those that maybe fall through the cracks from these other programs. So as a state, we design policies. As an agency, we're a statewide policy board, but we could not do our mission, accomplish our mission without the support of three primary local entities. Those are the Community Transportation Coordinator, which is Palm Tran here, the Local Coordinating Board, which we just recognized, and that is the representation of all the varying stakeholders that are impacted. And then the Planning Agency, which is similar to what the TPA's function is here. We designate each, either it's an MPO or another agency that is responsible for considering the needs of the transportation disadvantaged population when they're designing their plans. We also work with state agencies like the Agency for Healthcare Administration, Agency for Persons with Disabilities, the Workforce Development System, and try to coordinate with their programs to support this mission. Our mission is called Coordinated Transportation. That's a technical term that we like to use, but what it means in practice, and it's defined in our statutes in 427, as the ability to deliver transportation in a manner that is cost-effective, efficient, and reduces duplication or fragmentation of service. So what that means is thinking about it like kind of a two-sided coin. On the one side of the coin is the individual's needs that we want to be cognizant and aware of. But on the other side of the coin, there's a limit on how you can serve those needs, especially when it relates to financial support. You can't meet all the needs for all the people all the time. So the legislature was very, again, forward thinking and understanding that there should be some form of coordination to braid these funding sources and these systems together to meet the needs as best as possible with these limitations in mind. So what that means in practice would, for example, be, say, Medicaid provides funding for an individual to go to the doctor's office, but the Transportation Disadvantaged Trust Fund could be able to support a trip to the grocery store or employment that is not supported by Medicaid. We call this term in our statute, it's called non-sponsored, meaning it's not insured by another agency. A little summary of our agency's responsibilities. We are based in Tallahassee. We are located administratively within the Department of Transportation, but we function independently. My role is serving directly to our board of 7 members who are appointed by the governor, and we have a staff of 13 members in Tallahassee. As far as our duties, we administer the Transportation Disadvantaged Trust Fund that goes towards our grant programs and in contracts with community transportation coordinators to deliver the services, as well as the planning agency to designing their systems at the local level towards meeting these needs. We also collect data each year from our systems on what services they're providing, both from with our funds as well as other funding sources to meet the needs. And then we compile that in an annual performance report and present that to the governor and legislature, which is coming up here on January 1st. Our trust fund consists of multiple revenue sources. This is something that really stands out unique in the state of Florida compared to the rest of the country. I think we're one of the only few states that has this. And where a lot of that funding is coming from, revenues are coming from the license tags that you renew each year when they are the proceeds, a portion of those proceeds will go to our trust fund, $1.50. So that comes in each year. And then, of course, we also have other sources of revenue that come from the Department of Transportation and other sources that the legislature has deemed to designate towards us. And then once we get that funding, and the legislature gives us a budget each year, and then we distribute that funding primarily through our 4 grant programs. The biggest one being our Trip and Equipment Grant that serves like a block grant. It allocates funding to each of the counties, which in turn goes towards delivering the transportation disadvantaged services in each of those counties. We have a planning grant that goes to support the local coordinating board activities and other planning activities for this program. We have a capital equipment grant that's a competitive grant for a CTC that's interested in wanting to purchase a vehicle or software or any other ways of delivering that service in their community. And then we have a new grant program, relatively new, called the Innovative Service Development Grant. Again, it's like a competitive grant that's designed to test new ways of serving the population. So an example of some of the projects we've funded in your neighboring county over in Indian River, St. Lucie, they're serving, particularly focusing on people with developmental disabilities because those individuals are often underserved in the TD program and in their communities. So we try to create opportunities for these programs to be able to test new ways, innovative ways of serving their population beyond what they do with their existing funding. And then just to give you a closing of our initiatives, priorities for this year, we have our legislative day coming up, the Florida legislative sessions beginning in January. So January 18th, if anybody is interested, I know we get a lot of Palm Beach advocates that come to that. We're very privileged to have that voice. So we do encourage you to join, and John could share a little more about the registration of that. We also are very excited about an event we're having here in Palm Beach later this year. Our annual conference will be held at West Palm Beach. We are partnering with the Florida Public Transportation Association for that event. So we look forward to seeing some of you there at that. And then as far as our policy initiatives go, we are looking this year to develop our 5-year strategic plan. It's been more than 5 years since we've done that. I think it's been about 25 years almost. So we're going to be looking forward to partnering with both our state and local stakeholders to design goals and thinking ahead about our program. As the state is growing, our program's needs are growing. So thinking about those. And then another initiative we're really interested in this year, enhancing our data analysis. We just created a new position for a data scientist in our own staff, and we're looking forward to presenting more of trends and ways that we can improve decision-making, our policies being more informed. And I'm looking forward to sharing those in the future with groups like you, because I think it would not just be helpful to us at the state level, but at the local level as well. And then lastly, just to, if those of you who are maybe not as familiar with our program or interested in being more engaged, number one, please get involved with your LCB meetings. Those are, again, what I kind of started with was being a voice for the needs of our customers. That is the forum really where it's best meeting those needs and articulating those needs. You can also donate $1 in addition or more to the Transportation Disadvantaged Trust Fund beyond what you do when you renew your license. And those funds are, by the way, those goes to the local community. So if you're a Palm Beach resident and you donate in that voluntary $1, that's money that's going straight back to Palm Beach. It's not going to Tallahassee or any other county. And then also engage with your community transportation coordinator, learning about some of the challenges that they're facing and figuring out ways that, you know, being creative and how we as partnering at the community level could support their mission and meeting those needs. So with that, again, I very much appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'll be happy to answer any questions I can. And thanks so much.
That was great. All right, do we have any public comments?
No, Madam Chair.
Any cards up that I can't see? No? All right. You did a very thorough job. Honestly, I'm so excited to have you here and to share everything. I hope everyone can come in September. Absolutely one of my favorite meetings I've ever been to. And for anyone, I love that you encouraged everyone to come to our TDLCB meeting. The next one will be here at the TPA on the 28th of February, or I'm sorry, our award-winning TDLCB. But thank you so much for taking the time to come here to give us the award and to share all of that information. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Thank you. Anything else? All right. We have one more informational item. It is the I-95 Managed Lanes Project Development and Environmental PD&E Studies. So we have Julio. I think we have a lot of folks. Okay, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves to share this with us, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present the 2 I-95 Managed Lane PD&Es. My name is Vanita Saini. I'm the FDOT Project Manager for the Northern Segment PD&E study from north of 6th Avenue South to Okeechobee Boulevard. Hong Benates, who had presented in the committees, is not here today, unfortunately, but she's the FDOT PM for the project for the southern segment from south of Linton Boulevard to north of 6th Avenue South. And I also have here with me Gabriel Perez, who's from Stantec. He's the PD&E consultant for the southern segment. And then I have also Julio Bouclé. Hopefully I pronounced it right, from AECOM, who's the consultant PD&E for the northern segment. The PD&E studies have just started. With one of the first activities we did was hiring these 2 PD&E consultants. The presentation is an introduction of the project and the project development and environmental study process. FDOT has been actively involved with all the stakeholders during the planning phase, and we are carrying that public involvement efforts into this PD&E phase. There will be many future community engagement opportunities as we get further along in the study. This presentation will serve as a kickoff on these 2 PD&E studies. The delivery of the FDOT transportation project is usually 6 phases, as you can see on this exhibit. The first phase was the planning phase. It was completed in March of 2019, and it resulted in an I-95 Managed Lanes Master Plan. The master plan documented the preliminary assessment of the managed lanes improvements. The next phase is the PD&E phase, which we are going to be going over this morning. After completion of the PD&E phase, we move on to the design phase. And then if right-of-way acquisition is required, there's a right-of-way phase. And then after the design phase, we go into construction and then ultimately into the maintenance where FDOT maintains the facility. So what are managed lanes? FDOT is continually seeking safety enhancements and operational improvements in how we operate all our facilities. And one of the ways to address congestion is through the use of managed lanes. So just a little description on our managed lanes and our policy. Managed lanes are usually newly constructed travel lanes with access limited to specific vehicle classes by toll or vehicle volume. Managed lanes are also highway facilities or a set of lanes where operational strategies are proactively implemented and managed in response to changing traffic conditions. And the policy of the department is to employ managed lanes on appropriate facilities that currently are expected in the future to experience significant congestion. Because every corridor or facility is different with its own unique operating characteristics, the department will operate managed lanes in a manner individually designed to maximize throughput on a specific facility. The department will prioritize congestion management and maximize throughput on these key facilities through managed lane, vehicle eligibility standards, access control, and pricing. Those are three types of strategies that can also include, it also can include incentives and other techniques, and the three strategies can overlap each other as well. So some of the examples of managed lanes are HOV lanes, which you see out there on the roadways now, bus-only lanes, transit lanes, exclusive truck lanes, value pricing lanes, toll lanes, express lanes, or reversible lanes. FDOT will prioritize the approach to deploy a transportation system that is safe, community-centric, and accessible. And some of the benefits, as you can see on this slide, we're showing is to provide additional travel choices, offers predictable travel times, long-term solutions to manage congestion, reduce fuel consumption, and in turn decrease pollution and supports the use of transit. And transit vehicles can also qualify for exemptions on Florida's express lanes. And some of the vehicles that are exempt are public transit buses, school buses, over-the-road buses, and van pools. So the next few slides, I'll just go over recap regarding the I-95 managed lanes master plan, and then Gabe and Julio are going to go over the two respective PD&E studies. So this exhibit, the I-95 managed lanes master plan, like I mentioned earlier, was completed in 2019, and it looked to identifying long-term capacity needs along I-95 from Linton Boulevard to Palm Beach, Martin County line. It considered several managed lane concepts to address segments operating below the acceptable level of service for assist facility, which I-95 is designated as both assist facility, which is strategic intermodal system, and also a national highway system facility. It also serves as an emergency evacuation route. This is a typical section of the existing I-95. You can see we've got two HOV lanes, 8 general use lanes, auxiliary lanes between most interchanges. And this is the proposed master plan typical section that came out of the planning phase. The master plan analysis resulted in the selection of 4 managed lanes, 8 general use lanes, and auxiliary lanes between interchanges. And we're carrying this typical, which we're going to vet further in the PD&E phase. There was an active public outreach during the planning phase, and here listed are some of the municipalities and the stakeholders that were involved. And we'll be reaching out to all of them again during this PD&E study. This shows the study limits of the 2 PD&E studies currently funded for PD&E. On the left, we have the southern PD&E segment from Linton Boulevard to north of 6th Avenue South, and on the right is the northern PD&E study from 6th Avenue South to Okeechobee Boulevard. And both the studies encompass the cities of Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, Lantana, Lake Worth Beach, Lake Clark Shores, Glen Ridge, Cloud Lake, and West Palm Beach. Now I'm going to hand it over to Gabe, who will go over the Southern project.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Vanita. So during the planning phase and through agency coordination, the objectives of the PD&E are established. And for these 2 projects, it's going to be an increase in capacity to meet travel demand, enhance connectivity, assess the operational and safety needs of the corridor, and we'll also be looking at multimodal coordination, particularly with the airport, Tri-Rail, et cetera. The PD&E study process commences with a data collection effort. That's where we're at today. We're about to finalize the data collection effort. We'll then be moving to concept development, engineering and environmental analysis, alternatives refinement, and then we complete the engineering and environmental documents. Public outreach is a major component of PD&E. That is continuous from the beginning of the project, actually from before, during the planning phase, all the way through PD&E, design, construction, and so on. 2 of the major milestone public outreach efforts are going to be an alternatives public workshop. That is where we present the alternatives and some of the impacts to the community, gather the feedback, refine it. Then we go to public hearing with a preferred alternative where we present the the preferred concept to the public and receive feedback again. From an engineering standpoint, we're going to be looking at roadway geometry, roadway capacity, assessing the safety, traffic, operational needs of the corridor. We'll be adding impervious out there, so we'll also be looking at the drainage infrastructure. We'll also consider structure, ingress and egress location to the managed lanes. And we'll be looking at ways to minimize right-of-way acquisition and preserve existing resources. The environmental analysis will look at both social and the natural environment. We're going to be looking at ways to avoid, minimize, and mitigate all impacts. And then we'll be looking at noise as well. That's a major concern with the public whenever you're adding lanes on a limited access facility. Public involvement is a major component. We're going to be coming to the TPA several times to present throughout the life of the study. We're also going to be meeting with agencies, elected officials, list of stakeholders you see here on the right, including some of the municipalities. And then we're going to be going to the public with both virtual and in-person public workshops, public hearing. And we're also in the process of setting up a project website where the public can go and review the latest project documents, as well as provide feedback on the project. So the Southern PD&E commences where the Phase 3B is going to be ending today. That is south of Linton Boulevard, and is going to be going north to just north of 6th Avenue South. It traverses 8 interchanges. We're not looking at improvements to these interchanges as part of this PD&E. Most of the interchanges along the corridor are either in the design phase or in the construction phase, and they were designed to accommodate the future improvements to I-95. This project traverses the communities of Delray, Boynton Beach, Lantana, and Lake Worth Beach. The northern PD&E commences naturally where the southern PD&E ends, just north of 6th Avenue South. And this project ends north of Okeechobee Boulevard, and it includes Lake Worth Beach, Lake Clark Shores, Cloud Lake, and West Palm Beach. And within these limits, we have 6 interchanges. However, within these limits, 2 of the interchanges are going to be evaluated for potential improvements, and that's Southern Boulevard and Belvedere Road. The 2 projects are running concurrently, so I'm going to show you one schedule, but keep in mind there are 2 distinct projects and the schedules are subject to change. So we began the studies in the spring of 2023. We're currently in the project kickoffs presented to the TPA and the subcommittees. We'll be sending a fact sheet out to the interested stakeholders, residents, and so on after these meetings, just to kind of announce the studies. Alternatives public workshop tentatively scheduled for summer of 2024, and then the public hearing scheduled for spring of 2025. And then the studies are going to be, should be completed by fall of 2025. From a funding standpoint, the southern and northern PD&Es are, or projects, I should say, are funded for design in 2027. However, they're not funded for construction at this time. And then the aforementioned improvements at State Road 80 are funded for design in 2026, but also unfunded for construction at this time.
Thank you, Gabe. And then here's our contact information. You can reach myself or Hong Benitez either by mail or email, phone. So. And then we always like to put a safety slide in our presentation. So for this month, it's Happy Holidays. So we say drive sober, get pulled over. And with that, we're open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any public comment, Ruth?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much. We have a card up from Commissioner Woodward and then Mayor Koretski.
Thank you. I don't know, did I miss it in one of your slides? Do you have the number and locations of access and egress points?
Okay, so sorry, I skipped over that. For the southern projects, these are preliminarily based on the master plan, but we're looking to provide access to Lake Worth Road, Boynton Beach Boulevard, and Atlantic Boulevard. But we do have more information since the master plan, so we're going to be reevaluating those access locations. And then for the northern limits, it's in the vicinity of Forestville Boulevard and Okeechobee Boulevard.
Let me add that in addition to those 5 connections, there'll be direct connect ramps between I-95 and State Road 80, Southern Boulevard. And these preliminary connections were determined at the master plan time based on the traffic, based on origin destination, market analysis that was done also. But they can slide up or down. Remember, this traffic information used at the time was from 2015. So 8 years have lapsed. So there's some changes out there. And the pre-COVID, post-COVID also has, created some traffic turbulence, if you will. So this will be reevaluated. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Koretsky.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation update on this. I have a question that I think we'd asked before and may have gotten an answer or maybe still being worked on. But I'll just say this to preface, I've seen these lanes being used this way because it first started in Dade decades ago, I think it was. And a couple weeks back, I carpooled to Aventura Mall. I hadn't been here in a long time. And type of person I am, I was delighted, it was on a Saturday, to see how I was saving money and the people in the pay lane weren't really gaining much on me. And that's the backdrop to these things do become a revenue generator. So do the toll funds collected, are they limited to use in this area? I know that was a question that was asked once before, a couple of years back, and the answer I thought was no, but has any progress been made that they should be limited to this area? Because when you say, for example, it could be used for transit, there's no reason why FDOT and the legislature shouldn't have a policy. If the money's being collected here, it should stay here. Is that where we're at now?
Yeah, thank you for your comment. The flow of the toll revenue guidance is in our state statute. It actually tells us how we can expense toll revenue funds. So the state statute number, if anyone is interested in it, it's 338.16. So that's the state statute that gives how we can expense funds. So the gross revenues from tolling, it first has to go to the operating and maintenance of the facility. And then after that, if there's any, overage of a balance, it goes into any debt financing that we've done for constructing that facility. And then from there, it goes into operating and maintenance budget of the facility. And then if there's excess revenues from that, then it gets dispersed within the locality of where the roadway was built. So that's the process and how the toll funding is expensed. Now, I think your second question is any going to be applied? I don't have that information on how much actually is being collected right now. That I can get back to you. But what I've heard from my colleagues is it's not all the way down to the level of excess revenue.
I think though, like when you start having public meetings on this next section, it's always going to be an ask of the public, like, what am I getting from this? So last time we heard this in the first phase, we heard, no, it wasn't assured to come to the area. So I do think that's something we should have handy because people want to know, okay, I'm paying revenue, but is it at least helping out in this area? And the answer a couple of years back was no. So I'd appreciate, factually having it available at those sessions. Thank you.
Right, sure.
All right. I don't see any other cards. I do have a quick question myself. What's the timing for the website launch, please, about? I know you have a lot to get through between them, but that's where most of the public does access everything. So.
Well, I don't have an exact date right now, but we're in the process of finalizing the website, uploading the information. I don't want to give a date, but it should be up rather soon.
Can you give us a quarter, like within the next quarter or two? Or?
Yeah, by the next quarter, definitely.
Okay, great. Because it's always better to get that information out to all of our residents because they love to know ahead, just like anyone else would, what's happening in their backyard. So, okay, so Gabe, Julio, thank you. Vanita, thank you so much for coming. Really, really appreciate it. All right. Any other questions? Nope, we're all good. So do we have any other partner agencies that would like to provide an update today? PalmTran. Hi, Yash. How are you? Come on up.
Good morning. My name is Yash Naval. I'm the Director of Transit Planning for PalmTran. First of all, happy holidays. I have some good news and it'll be quick too. Ridership for the month of November was up almost 22%. So we compared that to last month of November. We were around 553,000, the total number last year. And this year we were 676,000. So over 100,000 boardings in that month of November. So that's all I have. Again, happy holidays. Thank you.
That's great news. Thank you for sharing. All right, and thank you guys for coming to our meeting today as well. Do we have any further public comments for the rest of the meeting?
Not at this time.
All right, thanks so much, Ruth. Let's see, do we have any conversation regarding our administrative items that were provided to the board ahead of time? No? All right, so looking ahead, we have a lot coming up, and then happy holidays, everybody. Please take some time off. I know we've all been working really hard this year. Our next meeting will be on February 15th of 2024, so we'll see you next year. Valerie, anything else as we close out?
Happy holidays, everyone.
All
Thank
right,
you for your
thank you.
service.
With that, we're adjourned. Thank you.